Good afternoon. My name is Amari Swinton. I'm the chair of the economics department and director of graduate studies at Howard University. And I'd like to welcome you to our virtual lecture and recognition ceremony. This is an event that is organized by Dr. Hunt, who you'll speak, who will talk a little later during the ODE, as well as Huda and Dr. Thorpe will bring greetings on behalf of Huda. This has been a great year for us in the department. If everything goes as planned, we'll graduate the most PhD students um, ever this year, which would be around 8 or 9 in one year, as well as our largest undergraduate class as we're leaning towards now. The department has
Awesome, baby.
the department has experienced a lot of growth, and at this time, I just want to acknowledge all the faculty who are in attendance. So if you could bear with me, and Jared, if you could help me pin the faculty. And so while Gerald penning, I'm gonna go ahead and introduce our various faculty members who are on the screen. We have Gerald Daniels, Dr. Mipagala, who's the associate chair, Dr. Hunt, who I mentioned earlier as the one who organized the program, Dr. Denale, Dr. Amir Hussein Bebihani, um, Dr. Andrea Smythe, our a past faculty member, emeritus, Dr. Charles Betsy, and Dr. Dennis Baglin, Dr. Elizabeth Asidu, and Dr. Emily Blank, who is an emeritus faculty member as well. And Dr. Gervais Grooms, who's back from leave as well. I think I got everybody. I hope I did. Nope, I didn't. And Dr. Rebecca Shu. So I thank the faculty for taking the time out of their busy schedules to come out and spend this night with our students. We really take great pride in the amount of time and effort we put into our students and what we offer them. And we appreciate you as our students for coming out to help this event. So the next person who's going to speak is Terry Adams, who is going to bring greetings on behalf of the university and the graduate school.
1 second, Amari, we need to go ahead and press record.
I got it recording.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Dr. Swinton. Happy to be here on behalf of the graduate school. I'm one of the associate deans for the graduate school. I'm in charge of the Office of External Affairs. Basically, I handle the research portfolio for the graduate school. I'm really excited to be here to represent the graduate school because we know how important honor societies are for our students. It provides you with great networking opportunities and a feather in your cap as you go out on the job market. And I understand that OED has been on Howard's campus since the 1950s, I think 1954 or so. So there's a long history of excellence with hundreds of alumni for you to look to for guidance. So I know you're going to enjoy the guest speaker today, and I wish you all the best in your careers.
All right, thank you, Dr. Adams. And I missed some faculty members, so I'm gonna make sure that I acknowledge all of them. Dr. Lance Lonk, who is also an alumni of the department, and I don't see him, but he was just on, and Dr. Odularu as well. So again, thanking all the faculty. At this time, it is my great honor to introduce our speaker. When I first started at Howard, 15, 16 years ago, I had a research assistant, and Benjamin, the speaker, was my research assistant. So Benjamin Russell is an assistant professor of business economics at the University of Michigan's Ross School of Business. He is a Howard University graduate class of 2012 with dual degrees in economics and mathematics. After completing his undergraduate studies, Russell went on to receive his PhD in economics from the University of Pennsylvania and has taught at Virginia Tech and the University of Kentucky. His research interests have a concentration on industrial organizations and public economics, focusing on federal contracting and small business programs. His research has been published internationally in internationally recognized peer-reviewed journals, and it investigates how various policies, such as set-asides and other preferences, affect the cost of federal contracting and the distribution of contract dollars to small, diverse firms.
Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction, Dr. Swinton. So, yes, thank you. Thank everyone for being here. Thank you for the organizers. So for this, I want to talk a little bit about me, sort of what I do and how I got here. So as you heard, I'm an assistant professor in business economics at the Ross School of Business at the University of Michigan. A lot of my day-to-day activity deals with doing research. So ideally, what that means is that I want to write research papers that sort of inform and teach us new things that we did not know before, particularly in the field of economics. So for this presentation, I want to talk about sort of how I got here and why I'm here and why I really enjoy the opportunity of being able to do research. So I'm going to start out, of course, at Howard University. So Howard University, that is where I went to undergraduate. I started out as an economics major, and I want to sort of be a little bit honest here. The reason why I chose to do economics initially was because that was the easiest subject for me in high school. All right, I was able to do it without much work. All right, so I thought, well, why don't I just go ahead and do that in college, save time studying, that stuff. But turns out that ended up being my career. So I started out as a freshman. I actually ran track at Howard University too. I was a little bit naive, so I did my econ major. And one of the first classes that I took was a microeconomics class with Dr. Swinton. So as you heard, that actually ended up turning out being, or turning into one of my first research projects where I was a research assistant for Dr. Swinton. And that sort of broadened my understanding of this field of economics. So after I took Dr. Swinton's class, I was fortunate enough to do very well in the class. And Dr. Swinton actually approached me about research. So at the time, I had no idea what research was, what it meant, why people would do it. But I figured, well, I did well in the class. Well, why not give this research thing a shot? So I did a little bit of research initially. What I didn't know at the time is that the research that I started at my freshman year of undergraduate would be one of my first publications. And if you go into academia, you'll understand that publications are sort of like the gold of academia. You want to get as many publications as possible, especially if you are on the tenure track. So what happened from there? Well, over the next few years, I decided to really look into this research business. So I participated in a few undergraduate research programs, research experiences over the summer. One of them was the McNair program. So the McNair program was ran through Howard, and it really, at that time, I developed what I was doing with Dr. Swinton, and we began sort of formalizing what would eventually be one of my first publications. But the second thing that I did over the summer, I believe it was over my sophomore year, was I participated in the AEA summer training program. So this is where I really began to understand what the field of economics was about. All right, so I thought it was about initially, naively, just our supply and demand models, models of the macroeconomy, things like that. But it turns out that, while yes, that is a big part of economic research, there's a lot of other things that we could look at too. And that really got me interested in doing research as an academic economist. So specifically what I found is that you could research a bunch of broad topics. So as a research assistant for Dr. Swinton, I did a lot of research on education, student groups at Howard. I remember fondly the days of opening up the yearbooks and recording the people who were in the groups to sort of see how they did over time. You could also look at things like digital access. So my first research project, or I should say my second research project, dealt with the digital divide, how communities of color, underrepresented communities, rural communities, they did not have access to internet like other communities did. And I was that was the thing that got me really interested in doing research. So after being convinced, I thought, what are my next steps? Well, it turns out that one of the big steps of doing academic research is, well, now you need to double major in math. So at first I was a little bit taken aback. I didn't want to go anywhere near the math department, but it turns out that, well, this research experience convinced me. And I met a whole lot of really wonderful people in the math department. It was one of the good experiences that led me to where I am today. So I'm very happy. If anyone in the math department at Howard is in this call, I'm very happy to have been a double major in math as well. So from there, I continued doing my research or investigating research more. I did a summer internship at the New York Fed, thanks in no small part to Dr. Swinton sort of showing me that these research opportunities existed. I applied and got into graduate school. I was very fortunate to get into the University of Pennsylvania. And with all of this stuff, doing research, and as well as I did in class, I thought, well, I'm ready to start my research career at the University of Pennsylvania. Everyone will love everything that I do, and everything would be great. Well, that's when my first year of graduate school started. And it turns out that it wasn't as great as I thought it would be. All right. So I can honestly say that my first year of graduate school was probably one of the most challenging, the most stressful years of my life. I was going up against, or I was in class with students who had not only taken PhD classes, but they had also taken master's level classes. Some had master's degree from all around the world. And I thought, what have I got myself into? All right. What am I doing here? What made this worse is that at the time, the University of Pennsylvania had very difficult first-year exams, which did not pass a lot of people. So I thought, well, if this doesn't work, I gave it my best. You know, I'll do the best that I can, and whatever happens, happens. As you can probably tell now that I'm here, that I was fortunate enough to pass my first-year exams. After a year of stress, after a year of difficulty, I made it through my first-year exams. This year was not easy. I will say that I encountered a lot of difficulties, a lot of new material that I had not seen before, but I will also say that I was not the only one. Graduate school was a difficult place, not just for me, but for all of my classmates. Needless to say, I got over my imposter syndrome after that. So what happened after that? Well, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth year, those intermediate years. I thought that once I passed my first year exams, well, this would be a walk in the park. I got past the difficult part. Now I could just, do research, get published, and gain notoriety. But it turns out that research isn't as easy as it sounds. It's quite difficult. The faculty here probably understand that, but it was a difficult process at first. This is where my experience with Dr. Swinton, my experience at Howard Economics Department in general, my experience with McNair, and all of that research experience came into play. Because from there, I was able to develop my own research agenda. It is quite an interesting story how I did. All right, so you know that I study government contracting. That's not what I was always interested in. And you may not end up doing what you think you're always interested in at the beginning. So believe it or not, I was actually interested in labor economics. And during my second year class, I took a labor economics class. And it turns out that I did not pass that class. So from my point of view, labor economics was done. From there, I decided to say, well, what about crime? All right, I was interested in the economics of crime. All right, so I wanted to do something about public and private prisons. Well, that didn't work out because I didn't have really good data. So from there, I said, well, okay, I don't have good data. Is there anything that I do have good data on? All right, is there anything that is related to how we go about establishing public and private prisons? And that's when I got into government contracting. A lot of private prisons, a lot of stuff that they do is through government contracts. And then from there, I got into construction, and from there, I got into set-asides and things of that nature. So it was a long path. It wasn't straightforward, and not a lot of things in life are. I am fortunate enough to have found my path, thanks in no small part to my experience at Howard and doing research. So that's how I got into government contracting. Now, the next step is finding a job. So for those of you who are not familiar with the job market, once you finish your work, once you've essentially written your dissertation, maybe not officially, but you've done most of the work, then you need to go out and find an academic or public sector or private sector job. In economics, that's pretty centralized in the sense that there's a job market, you apply to a lot of places, you hear back from those places, you do your interviews, and then you get your job offers. So I thought, after having written my dissertation, having written a lot of my job market paper, that this would be a walk in the park. And what I realized is that just as graduate school in my first year, this was no walk in the park. This was a very difficult time. So I applied to 125 jobs. I ended up with 6 in-person interviews. And I was very fortunate because some people don't end up with any in-person interviews. So of those 6 in-person interviews, I got my first job offer at Virginia Tech, which is a wonderful department, and I'm very happy to have worked there. But this is where I really got to experience this idea of rejection. All right, so you think you're amazing, you think you've done all this good stuff, you've written amazing things, but it turns out that being an academic, a lot of it has to deal with how do you deal with rejection. So you could let rejection weigh you down, or you could use rejection to sort of motivate you and to bring you into places that you otherwise would not have been. So yes, I got my first job. It was amazing, but there was a lot of rejection along the way, and I've used that to sort of strengthen my resolve. So professional experience, as you heard, I am working at Michigan Ross now. I had moved from Virginia Tech to Kentucky. Now I'm at Michigan. I worked along the way with many faculty with many diverse research interests, and it has really shaped who I am. One thing I do want to say is that, or I want to talk about sort of to wrap up, is what I do. So as an academic economist, you heard about the research component of it. Another thing that I do is teaching as well as service, all right? So what is teaching? If you're a student, you're aware, and if you're a faculty, you know that I go around and I teach undergraduate classes and sometimes PhD classes. This is a very rewarding experience, and this is part of the job. The other part, service. So service, sort of what Dr. Swinton did for me, is I serve as an advisor for other students in our PhD programs. All right, so I'm fortunate enough to serve with many excellent students, and I'm advising a couple of students now. So if they so happen to be in this call, hi, I see you, I recognize you, and I'm happy to be your advisor. So I want to wrap up. I believe that I'm running close on time. So in conclusion, I want to say that I really enjoy my job. I like where I am now, but I didn't get here without controversy. It was a long, hard battle. For those of you who are graduating now, congratulations. I know that you had your own personal battles too. I hope you were able to find a job sort of like mine, that you really enjoy doing what you do, and you get up, you wake up, and you enjoy the things that you work on. So with that, congratulations. Thank you for having me as your speaker, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right. Thank you so much, Benjamin. Is Isabel here? Isabella?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Oh, all right. So you can go ahead and start with the questions as well.
You guys have a set of questions you're asking, or you're asking the audience for questions?
Well, so Isabel will ask questions and then we'll open the floor for questions.
Okay, thanks.
But if you have a question, Dr. Adams, you can go ahead and start.
Oh, no, sometimes
Hello,
I need
everyone.
somebody to break the ice. I was just wondering, you talked about rejecting being a big part of the process, and I try to convey that to students too, but if you can share how you've developed a sense of resilience to kind of overcome that, I think might be helpful.
Yeah, so I think the main thing with rejection is that it's not personal. When people are rejecting, so first of all, what is rejection? You could be rejected from jobs, you could be rejected from graduate schools, you could be rejected from your research articles that you've worked on for years, could be rejected from journals. And many times it's not personal. So what I took out from it is that, yeah, even though I might be rejected, I don't think that people are doing it because they hate me necessarily, or that I necessarily did something wrong. There's lots of reasons why you could be rejected. And part of being an academic economist is understanding that rejection is going to happen all the time. So for me, I try to never take it personally. And I try to learn from why I was rejected. If I get feedback, I try to read that and see, well, why was I rejected? Is there something that I could do for the next time that I do something like apply for grad school or jobs, and integrate that so that I can learn from my rejection instead of being brought down by it.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Isabel Mutumba, and sorry about the delay. I am a senior undergraduate economics major, computer science minor from Uganda in East Africa. And I think some of the questions I have go to your biggest accomplishments yet, what you think you've achieved most, and also regrets or things that you think you could have done differently in order to have a better outcome in your career.
Yes, thank you, Isabel, for those questions. So I guess let me start out with things that I regret. So it's hard to say what I regret, because one thing you have to think about is, well, what would happen otherwise? All right. So, for example, do I regret going to the University of Pennsylvania? Well, it's hard for me to answer that precisely because I don't know what would have happened if I went to another university that I had gotten into. So I would say that there are still things that I do wish that I had done. So as much experience as I got doing research, I always think that, well, more research would have helped, more experience would have helped. But at the end of the day, even if I had gotten all the research experience in the world, it's very hard to prepare for graduate school. And it's hard to say that all that experience would have necessarily helped me have a better outcome. One thing that maybe that I would do differently is that, well, I think that if I could, I would have studied, done more data work before going to graduate school. So a lot of academic research, not all, but a lot of academic research is doing data work and understanding how to manipulate data, analyze data, visualize data. And I had a great experience and I learned a lot, but you could always do more with more data visualization and data manipulation experience. So that's one thing that I wish I had, but it's hard to say if that would have changed things much. So thank you for those questions.
Yes, and just as a follow-up question, I did say that I was a computer science minor, but I was wondering, what's your take on, integration of technology and economics in the future? How would you say you could, better prepare for that? Like, what do you think is going to happen? And basically, just want to know your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so being really good at programming and things of that nature. So in other words, by the way, I took a few computer science classes as part of the math major, and those were extraordinarily helpful. So learning those kind of programming things are very useful, especially if you want to do applied economics work. So a long time ago, a lot of economics was mainly theoretical before we had a lot of the computing power that we have now. So being good with programming, learning programming languages, that helps a lot, because I don't just know one programming language. I know a bunch of programming languages, and all of them are helpful for different parts of my research. So that's good. That's something that I recommend. And for technology in general, it's good to keep up, because even as I was going through grad school, a lot of new programming, a lot of new apps came out that made me a much more productive researcher than I would be if I hadn't known it. So keeping up with technology is very helpful, especially with programming. And a little secret with programming languages is basically once you've learned a programming language, it's very easy to learn other programming languages. So yes, thank you very much for that question.
Thank you so much for your answer. And like, would you say in your day-to-day work, how often do you use the integration of these programming languages, or how often would you have wanted to use the languages to make your life easier?
Oh, I would say pretty much every day. So a lot of my time involves staring at the computer and analyzing data and seeing well, what's going on in the data, sort of estimating empirical models, things of that nature. And all of that is in front of the computer screen. So a lot of my research time, the big part of being an academic economist, is spent in front of a computer programming things. So I would say most of my research time is spent with programming languages. And that's why if you could do little investments in learning little things that are new that could really increase your programming, I would highly recommend doing that, because it could take an hour's worth of work and condense it to 10 minutes if you can. So, and another thing is that when I was in my intermediate phase after finishing first year and before really starting my own research, I invested a lot of time in learning the technology, and that has significantly helped me in my research. So yes, I recommend a lot of it, and I spend a lot of time doing it.
So much, Mr. Professor Benjamin Russell, for your answers. I do have one final question, Professor Swinton. Let me just ask that.
Okay.
My last question is, how do you stay motivated and how do you maintain, that purpose and that initial drive that you had? How have you been able to maintain it all till this day, till today?
And that's a question for me or for Dr. Swinton?
It's for you, sir.
Okay, yeah. So how do I maintain that drive? Well, so one thing that really helps me is I did mention very briefly that I did things like track, and I did a lot of things when I was younger that really got me focused on completing a goal. So for me, what I like to do is I like to have goals, and I like to do the best that I can to make those goals in the time frame that I do it. So every year, what I'll do is I'll make a list of a couple of goals that I want to achieve for the year, for the academic year. And I'll spend time trying to reach those goals. And that really motivates me, because, I mean, these goals are not cure cancer, because that's probably not going to happen with my research, but these are very reachable goals. And I spend time looking at that list and sort of making sure that I'm on track to attain those goals. And by the way, that's one of the things that kept me focused in graduate school and that kept me motivated is I want to make these goals. I decided in graduate school that I wanted to do academics. That was one of my goals on my list. So I thought, what can I do to make my dream of becoming an academic possible? So that's one of the major things that I do to keep motivated. Also, for better or for worse, failure actually motivates me now instead of brings me down. So when I get those rejections, I think, man, what can I do better? Let me show this school or this referee or this person that I could really do better than they think that I can. So that motivates me to do well too. So with all the rejection that happens in academia, that's just a motivating factor for me at this point.
Thank you so much for that answer and for all your words of wisdom. And thank you for being our speaker and gracing us with the honor of attending this event. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed my time.
So just one more question. This is from Dr. Bessie, who is a Michigan alum, and he wants to know, what do you teach at Michigan and what do you like most about being there?
Yeah, so I teach business economics. So we have a core program. And the class that I teach, you could sort of think of it in between intermediate class and introductory class for economics. So we focus on things like supply and demand, but we also have a business aspect to it. Yeah, so think of it like in between intermediate and introductory econ class with a focus on business topics. And we'll talk about sort of business current events sometimes, but it's really a core class. What do I like about Ann Arbor? Well, I really like my department. So if they happen to be in here, hi. I really like my being part of the department. Everyone is so friendly. And that's another thing, is that you could be in workplaces where people aren't quite as friendly, and that could really drain you. And I'm very fortunate enough to be in a department where I feel like I'm very much appreciated. My research is appreciated, and everyone is so friendly with one another. So that's what I really like about Ann Arbor. Well, I guess the University of Michigan so far.
All right, and so we want to thank you on behalf of the department for coming out and giving this speech. You got mailed us a plaque. Did you get it in the mail yet? If you could hold it up so people can see. Huda sent this to him for giving the lecture today. All right, thank you so much, Benjamin. So next on the agenda is Charles Thorpe, who is the vice president of Huda, to present an award to a student.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Charles Thorpe. So I am here on behalf of Dr. Vincent McDonald. He likes to present or make this award personally every year that we do it. However, unfortunately, he had a medical procedure done today, so he's a little bit under. So anyway, Dr. Vincent McDonald, he funds this award. He's a former professor emeritus at Howard University Department of Economics and Huda. So this award that comes through the Howard University Economics Department Alumni Association, Huda, is provided a monetary award to a deserving undergraduate senior majoring in economics. The purpose of the award is to recognize a senior who has excelled in rigorous economics coursework, demonstrated leadership ability, and participated in community services activities, and has proven to be an overall outstanding student matriculating through Howard University. And Dr. McDonald's careful words are that he is very big on encouraging students to continue in the field of economics. So this is something that he takes personally and has done it for over 20 plus years. So this year, our winner is Shawnshare Graham. I hope I pronounced it right, Shawnshare. She is a senior economics major from Colorado Springs, Colorado. She'll be graduating this year in May of 2024. So throughout her matriculation at Howard University, Shawnshare has demonstrated an exceptional dedication to leadership, academic excellence, and service. As a twice elected student leader on campus, representing 3,000 plus of her peers in the College of Arts and Sciences, she is passionate about driving change and uplifting student voices in the academic community. Upon graduation, Shawnshare will start a full-time position at PIMCO as a wealth management analyst in New York City. So she's well within the confines of Dr. McDonald's wishes in using her economics to pursue more work in that area, probably like an MBA or something, but wealth management is very productive. So congratulations, Shawnshare. And I think you have the plaque that you can show everyone. You don't show them the check that you got.
No, thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay.
And congratulations. If everybody could join me in congratulations for the hard work she has demonstrated, and for Huda for sending her an award.
Our pleasure.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, sounds great.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, congratulations. I used to live in Colorado Springs.
Oh, wow.
Right. So what part do you live in? Where do you live?
Like east of Colorado Springs, the Falcon area, if you're familiar with it.
Oh yeah, yes. I used to teach at the Air Force Academy.
Okay, nice, nice.
And I use this as a plug for Huda. Our alumni from the department, I think about half the people on the call are alumni from the department, and they're everywhere. So for the graduating seniors, we're gonna have a dinner like we've having for the past 2 or 3 years for the seniors on May 2nd. So be on the lookout from that information from Dr. Baglin about the dinner, the graduates reception. And once again, congratulations, Sean.
I have one more question. Did you say your name is Sansaray?
It's Chanceray, yes. There's an accent on the E, but I don't have it on here.
Okay, yeah, because that's a familiar name out west. So that's familiar with me, yes.
Great, thank you.
All right, Aji.
Okay. And I think I'm unmuted, yes. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us. And Benjamin, it's good seeing you. I think you finished 2012, which was the year that I also finished my master's. So it's great that you went on and did economics, and we thank you for your experiences and sharing them with us tonight. And for tonight, I will be presenting the Dr. William E. Spriggs Graduate Travel Award. We actually changed the name to honor our late professor, Dr. Spriggs, who passed on, I think it was late last year, right? So we're really happy that we're able to name this award in his honor. So the award this year, we provided the student with a travel award to attend the ASSA meetings, or the American Economics meetings. And every year, the HUDA presents this award to a student, sending them to wherever the meetings are so that they can have their experience there. And sort of like this year, we had an opportunity to provide the award to Beza Afwerk. And she was not only able to just attend the meetings, but she was also there presenting research. So we were really, really happy that she got to attend this year's meeting. Beza is a third-year PhD student in economics at Howard University, having pursued her bachelor's degree at Addis Ababa University and her master's at Howard. Moving from Ethiopia for her master's, she decided to extend her academic pursuit with a PhD, aiming to contribute significantly to economic research, particularly about Africa. She specializes in international and development economics. She's also a research fellow at the Howard University Center of Excellence in Housing and Urban Research and Policy, CHIRP, led by Dr. Haydar Kurban. Hey, Dr. Kurban, if you're around, and Dr. Rodney Green, hello, if you guys are on the call, and engaging in various projects surrounding housing policy research. So I'm very happy that Beza is here. And we also did send her a plaque in the mail, and she will hold that up for you guys to see. But very happy. And Beza, if you want to share any words about your experiences at the meeting quickly, that would be great too. Uh-oh, you're muted.
Okay, yeah, I would like to express my gratitude to the committee for the travel award. It was a great experience. I presented one of our projects that I have been working on at CHIRP, and I'm thankful for the opportunity provided. Thank you very much.
Thank
Again, if you could join me in congratulating Beza and Huda again for supporting the department students in all the ways that they do. So next on the agenda will be a presentation by Dr. Hunt, who will be introducing the inductees into Omicron Delta Epsilon. Dr. Hunt, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Dr. Swinton. Dr. Terry Adams Fellow, Associate Dean for the Graduate School, Dr. Benjamin Rosa, our guest speaker and our Economics Department graduate, current and past professors of our Economics Department, members of Howard University Economics Department Alumni Association, HUDA, economic students in our department, greetings on this auspicious occasion. My task this evening is to introduce to you our inductees into the internationally recognized Honor Society of Economics, Omicron Delta Epsilon. But before doing so, permit me to say a few words about ODE. ODE is one of the world's largest academic honor societies. It has over 700 chapters located in many universities across the United States and around the world. Our ODE chapter at Howard University began in 1954. So this year, our Beta chapter is celebrating 70 years on the campus of Howard University. And according to the ODE website for the period 1968 to 2024, our Beta chapter at Howard University has a total of 387 ODE members. We need to congratulate ourselves for the work being done to graduate all those past students who I'm certain is doing very well in their fields. Quite obviously, this is a good story to tell whenever you think of the contribution of the Economics Department and the objectives of ODE, which are as follows: recognition of scholastic attainment and honoring the outstanding achievements in economics, establish closer ties between students and faculty in economics within and among colleagues and universities, publish articles in economics in its official academic journal, The American Economist, sponsor panels at professional meetings in economics, and organize and manage ODE graduate and undergraduate research awards competitions. As a member of ODE, you have access to a network of colleagues, and this can be useful for building one's career in this important social science. I'd like to encourage students to join our ODE chapter, as it is among the first set of indicators about your growing professionalism in economics. The only criteria for membership are a minimum GPA of no less than 3.0 in economics and a minimum of 12 credits in economics for undergraduate students and 9 credits for graduate students with a GPA no less than 3.0. I also take this opportunity to introduce our ODE committee for 2023-2024. Judy Josephs, the president, Omonika Adams, secretary. Both Judy Josephs and Omonika Adams will be graduating in a few weeks, and I therefore take this opportunity to congratulate both the ODE members in their academic achievement and to wish them well and to keep on the good work that they've started here at Howard. In the fall, we will hold elections to fill the 4 positions in the ODE committee. The positions will be president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. We work hard to have that done in the fall. And now, let me introduce our 10 new members. Subodh Pandey, and let me first of all apologize if I pronounce people's names incorrectly. I apologize in advance. Subodh Pandey, Jordan Palmer, John Paintsill, David Ndolo, Tanshia Luster, Philippi Wan, Roberto Ward II, Chelsea Anozi, Louis Leopold Murwa, and Li Tai Guyen. I think I was able to get it done. You guys don't grade me on calling your names. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Back to you, Swinton.
Thank you. I was trying to highlight all of them. I think I got everybody who had their camera on, but congratulations to our ODE members.
Yes.
This is something that Howard has been doing since I've been at Howard. And I think it's something that any undergraduate student who's interested in honor society should think about joining. So if everybody could join me again in congratulating our new inductees into ODE. So I'm not sure if Hazel has made it on.
I'm on,
Okay.
Amari.
All right, so Hazel is the fearless leader of the Alumni Association, and she's been the fearless leader since I've known them, and she's looking for a replacement. I see a lot of alumni who are on the call who want to support the department. Anybody who's interested in joining HUDA, please join HUDA and give Hazel and the organization all the support they deserve, because they support the department in a way that no other department gets support from its alumni. And before you get started, Hazel, I do have to acknowledge that the graduate school also paid part of Basil's support by paying for her lodging when she went to the event. All right, Hazel, you can take over.
Okay, will I be able to share my screen? I got a little presentation. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Hazel Robinson, president of the Howard University Economics Department Alumni Association. I hate it when I can't get to the slideshow. Oh, down here.
So
Okay.
before Hazel gets started, if you're a student and you're attending the event, please type student or alumni in the chat so I could keep on record of that you actually attended the event. Thank you.
And also, if all the HUDA members could put on their video camera so we can see who the alumni members are, that would be great. So anyway, I am bringing you greetings from HUDA. And so we'll move on. I do, before I get into my presentation, do want to congratulate, I missed the speaker's speech, but since it's recorded, I can review it later, but I'm quite sure he did a great job because he's a Howard man. I also want to congratulate a graduate travel award winner, Dr. Spriggs, travel award winner, and also Dr. Vincent R. McDonald, Senior Recognition Award winner. Congratulations to the both of you. I just want to talk a little bit about one of my favorite subjects, and that's HUDA. I've been a member of HUDA. We're 23 years old now. In a couple of years, we'll be celebrating 25 years. And the important thing I want you to know is that we have the same original members. And so we do need you to join our organization because we have another generation coming up. We need new leadership for the future, okay? Our mission is to provide advice and support to the faculty and students of the Howard University Economics Department Alumni Association. You saw Dr. Thorpe earlier. He's the vice president. Our secretary is Patricia Smith. She's been the original for all 23 years. She's been our treasurer. Okay. The chair of our awards committee is Dr. I.G. Diani. I know I killed your name. We have our public relations committee chair is Dr. Linda Jones. And I believe we have one more. But anyway, those are our officers. And our awards, you have seen 2 of the awards tonight. And I would like to probably surprise some HUDA members and announce a 3rd award. And accomplishments, I will talk about our accomplishments in this presentation. Of course, this is what you get when you have a membership in HUDA. You become a part of a global professional network. We have alumni all over the world, especially in Africa and in the Caribbean, excuse me. And now I see in India and elsewhere, you keep up with your professors, the department, and old college friends. And also you have an opportunity to invest in our emerging economies, which is always a joy and a pleasure to mold the next generation. So you want to join, please join, go to our email, huda@hotmail.com for an application. or just put it in the chat. I want to join. I'm quite sure we got enough members here to capture your information and contact you before the weekend. These are some of our activities. We completely and 100%, maybe 110% support the ASSA and the NEA, NEA being the National Economic Association. In fact, I'm the national treasurer, the treasurer for the National Economic Association, been so for several years at this point. So in the left, you see that, I believe that was in Philadelphia. We see, I'm going to try to mention their names. Okay, we had Dr. Bass to the left. That was our student who attended. I believe she lived in Philadelphia. I'm in the blue. I'm looking from left to right. We have Kurt Adair. He was a PhD student. We have Dr. Sandra Cook Hull and Dr. Jan Christopher, who teaches at Delaware State University. And then to the right, one of our alums, Winston Dawes, Dr. Dawes, he actually hosted a group of our students there, and they learned about the activities of the IMF. And in the past, we have hosted our students at the World Bank as well. The one thing that we are really very proud of is our endowed loan and scholarship funds. And this is where I make the pitch to let you know that in our department, in the economics department, we have two endowed funds. One is a loan, that's the Dr. Ducarmel Bacage Fund, loan fund. And then we have Dr. Houghton Scholarship Fund. In fact, this is a picture of Dr. Bacage there to his right, to the right. Then we have Dr. Joseph R. Houchins. This is not how we remember him, because when he was in the department, when I was in grad school, I think he was in his 80s or something like that. But that's a nice, handsome picture of Dr. Houchins, and he was a labor economist. So I want to tell you that for the Dr. Houchins Scholarship, that goes to our undergraduate students, undergraduate economics students. And for Dr. Bacage, it goes to our graduate students. So you can give at any time. You don't have to just give tonight, which I want you to do, or have already done on Eventbrite, but you can always go to these sites, giving.howard.edu, and then there's the directions. You click down on other because it's not really listed, and then you could type in Bacage Fund, or you could type in a Houchins Fund, excuse me. I want to say that last year, we lost two giants in our departments, and they were two favorite professors of Huda. The significance about Dr. Ransford Palmer was that he was the chairman when we got started back in 2001. And he fully embraced us and supported us. In fact, I know it was just before ODE meeting back in 2001, five of us met with Dr. Palmer. And I tell you, he was almost floating out of that conference room because of what we discussed. It's just like, this is what he'd been needing, the support that he needed. And so we was more than happy to provide the support for him. He just embraced us fully, and we embraced him, as you can see that we're still in business. So I'm just gonna show a few pictures of Dr. Palmer. He meant a lot to us, meant a lot to Howard University, and he passed away, I believe, in January or February of last year. And this picture right here is really at his retirement ceremony that was held at Union Station. I think it was B. Smith Restaurant at the time.
It was January.
January, thank you. And this is the group that, and I know some of you can pick out some professors like Dr. Mike Donna and Palmer, and a lot of alum. So you could tell he had a great send-off. And these is Dr. Palmer with some of the faculty here at the department. I think, well, Dr. Green has retired, but Dr. Baglin is still there. Is that Baglin?
Kerbin.
Kerbin, thank you. Okay, and this another picture. Wanzi Okidebe, he was one of our distinguished alum. And I don't know if he's back in the States, but he was the the top economists in the country of Nigeria.
Minister of Finance.
Minister, thank you, Minister of Finance. Thank you. And this is like, when you see Dr. Bremer, we see Dr. Hunt on the left, Dr. Bremer, Dr. McDonough, Dr. Spriggs. That is Dr. Jones' husband. I can't think of his name. Is Linda on? And Dr. Palmer. And this was at an ODE lecture. It was in person, of course, in the Blackburn Center. And Dr. Bremer was the keynote speaker. And this is Dr. Palmer. I don't know what the occasion was. And that's me and Dr. Palmer at an ODE lecture. And that's Dr. Hull, Everson Hull with Dr. Palmer. Then like when he received his Distinguished Alumni Flag. And this is Dr. Palmer and his family, his wife, daughter-in-law, and son. And this is probably my last picture for showing Dr. Palmer, but this was me and one of the students. I can't recall this. Anybody remember the student name? This had to be like in 2002 or 2003, early in our embryo stage of Huda. And you can tell that's room 316. I can remember the conference room. Had quite a few classes in that conference room. This is the Chairman Prize. This is something that Dr. Palmer had started when he was chairman, and he wanted to recognize a top student in the economic studies. And it wasn't no monetary prize with it. It was a book prize. We gave them a book. So I want the Huda people to know that I would like to get this reinstituted so we can have the Chairman Prize, no matter who's the chairman. We will always have a Chairman Prize, but we'll receive nominations from the chairman, because most chairmans, good chairmans, know who their students are in the department. So that's what we're going to do, if y'all support me on that. And that's Dr. Hunt, I believe, in his wife, and Dr. Palmer. And this is a classic picture. That's one of our, I think it's our second holiday party. And that was held at Union Station, I believe, B. Smith. It's part of the Chairman Prize again. Next is Dr. William Spriggs. In fact, he was with us last year at the ODE lecture, and also at our graduates reception. And so we memorialized him, I believe, in July. And this is when he initially came to the campus at Howard University, who sponsored a reception for him. You have Willie Abney, Dr. Hull, Dr. Spriggs, myself. I don't know that gentleman, is the next gentleman, and Dr. Flowers. That's another picture of the ODE that we've seen. This is Robert Stiglitz and Gwen Flower, Dr. Flowers, and Dr. Spriggs. And Dr. Spriggs again. And this him with Mr. John Sweeney, president of AFL-CIO, and Dr. Spriggs. You know that he was the chief economist for the AFL-CIO. This is a classic picture. We have Dr. Bernard Anderson, professor emeritus at the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania. Dr. Charles Betsy, one of our professors emeritus of economics, Howard University. Dr. Roger Ferguson, vice chairman of the Federal Reserve Board from 1999 to 2006. He was, he guided the Federal Reserve during the 9/11 situation that we had in New York and the Pentagon during that time. And Dr. William Spriggs, chief economist, AFL-CIO, and Howard University faculty. And then this is a more recent faculty with Dr. Spriggs. So this is my last slide, and this is my strong pitch. I wish we was in a hand wrestling contest. This is why I just try to overpower you with my persuasion. But it's a good thing and a great thing to join the Howard University Economics Department Alumni Association. It keeps you connected to the university. You get really good information about the university, and it gives you a chance to come into your own, And we want to go back and reach back and mentor the economists following us, because we know what it takes in the workplace to be successful. So I hope you are persuaded. If not, we could start it all over. Have a good evening. Have a good evening. And it's been a pleasure sharing you, talking to you about one of my favorite subjects. And hey, it's a great thing.
Thank you, Hazel. And Hazel works really hard, and she's an advocate for the department in many different ways. And they do exceptional work that the department appreciates all the effort and time they put in for our students, and they put in as alumni as well. So I encourage anybody who's graduating, who's interested, you can email me or email Hazel, and we'll get you involved. And especially the graduating seniors, hopefully you can come to the graduate reception. We had a great time last year. And hopefully everything we'll have a great time this year. So we're gonna close out the event with the Director of Undergraduate Studies just doing a nice summary for us before we go on our way.
All right, thank you, Amari. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dennis Baglan. I'm sure all of you undergraduate, graduate students know me, but if anyone doesn't know me, my name is Dennis Baglan. I am the Director of Undergraduate Studies in the Economics Department. And for tonight, first of all, I would like to thank Dr. Terry Adams for her remarks tonight. Next, I would like to thank our keynote speaker, Dr. Benjamin Rosa. It is a truly special moment for me, as Dr. Rosa was once my student back in the fall of 2011, taking on the challenges of advanced statistics with enthusiasm and dedication. I remember that time, he was an undergraduate student, but taking a master's class, which was a pretty hard class, advanced stat. And I think I only taught it at that time in the fall of 2011. And then he was like very enthusiastic, very dedicated, and doing really well in the class. And then seeing his journey from students to accomplished professor is truly inspiring for me. Finally, I would like to thank the organizers of Harvard University Department of Economics Alumni Association for organizing this event, the Department of Economics faculty, Harvard Department of Economics alumni, and our valuable graduate and undergraduate students for their participation. I would like to congratulate our students who are graduating this year. I wish you the best as you embark on the next chapter of your life. I would like to remind you that the Department of Economics faculty are not graduating. You know where to find us. If you need anything, we'll be more than happy to support you in any way we can. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.